Well, tell me about working for the sawmill, like in general. When was it? What were you doing?
Well, on that, on the carriage, I would release and run a kicker that would flip the log when we wanted to turn it. And then I'd tighten the clamps back down on it.
Oh, well, where was it?
That was in Grants Pass.
How old were you? High school? Or?
Out of high school.
So after high school and before the military?
I actually went into there from the military. You couldn't enlist during World War II. All you could do was volunteer for the draft.
Right, okay.
So I volunteered for the draft.
And then when cut wood?
And then I was riding carriage in that sawmill when this all took place.
Right. And so what ran the sawmill? Not a water wheel, right? I mean, a steam.
It was steam.
Did you take care of that too?
No.
So you didn't do the boiler or anything? No, feed the boiler?
Just 8 hours a day riding on that carriage. And they had huge little steam engines for the little jobs around.
Yeah.
It got its steam from burning the sawdust.
Okay, that's a good way to do it. What kind of little jobs?
A cut-off saw.
A cut-off saw, is that what you said?
Yeah, cut the ends off.
Okay.
Or little conveyors.
So they had a whole bunch of little steam engines floating around.
Yeah. They were neat.
Must have taken a little while to get it all stoked up and running in the morning.
Oh, the burner ran all night.
Did they all run off the same boiler then? That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you had steam pipes everywhere.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They used to call those wigwam burners. Great big thing out in the field by itself or away from the sawmill. It had trash and sawdust, everything burning all the time from a 2-shift mill.
Yeah. Keep the water warm, keep the water hot.
Yeah.
How long did you work there?
Probably close to a year.
Yeah.
And then another time, and this was just out of high school, one of my closest friends and I ran his dad's little one-man sawmill.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking about.
Out in the boonies.
In high school, you said?
We were just out.
Okay.
And
why did it take two of you to run it if it was a one-man sawmill?
Well, because I'd take off the cut lumber and stack it on a truck bed, and he would run the carriage and would move the logs back and forth to be cut through the saw blade. And the motor that was running it when we started using that little old mill was so old it had primer cups for each cylinder of the engine. You know what they were?
Not really. Sounds like something to warm it up, but I don't know.
And you put a little bit, like a thimbleful full of gasoline at each cylinder in this little container. And whenever you turned the motor over manually, that would suck a drop or two of gasoline out of this little cup for each cylinder. And that was getting gas to it to get it started.
So before carburetor didn't work for the first little bit of cranking.
Not until it got gas from these little cups.
And until it started sucking, until the engine started pulling air through
the carburetor, just the piston.
What was it?
That went straight down into the piston.
Well, yeah, but there was still a carburetor somewhere, right? The primer would just be to get it started, and there's a carburetor somewhere.
Must have been a carburetor they used then or something. I don't know.
It must be that they just couldn't turn it over fast enough to get gasoline into it or something.
Yeah. And then, for a half a day, he and I would go up and fall trees, and nothing smaller than 12 inches around, and up to 2 feet around.
Two-man handsaw?
Yeah. And we would trim them out and pile the brush. And then his dad would buck it up into 8-foot length, and then use his team of horses to drag the logs to a little deck where we could roll them down onto our carriage.
Who did you guys sell the lumber to?
Planer mill in Drain, and we were out west of Drain.
Never heard of it. Drain, Oregon?
Yeah, quite a ways. It's off I-5 to the coast.
Okay.
Where there's a tunnel.
Okay.
To go through. And so then we would cut till Friday noon and have a good truckload by then, a little 2.5 flatbed.
Model T?
No, the Chevy, an old Chevy. And then on Friday afternoon we'd drive to Drain and unload this at the mill, the planer mill that bought it.
Who paid for the saw blades and stuff?
Well, there was a circular saw that we kept sharpening and using over and over and over and over.
You guys just sharpened it?
Yeah.
With files or?
Just a file, yeah. And they would last for a number of years, one of those saw blades.
Right. But you had to sharpen it every week,
Oh, every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
Beginning of the day? Before it got hot from cutting lumber?
Well, yeah.